And welcome to another episode of On the Game with the Wild Boar. We're now on episode 19. Again, here with me is Ben.
Hey, 19, really?
19.
Wow,
Yeah, it's
surprising.
we've been doing it for about 20 years now. So
Less than regular.
yeah, exactly. There was that unfortunate year where we both went into heavy depression and drinking.
What was it they said? They call it in community the gas leak season.
The classic season, exactly.
Yeah.
Have you been watching Community? I've just finished it and I really liked it.
I saw the season, the season where Dan Harmon came back and Troy left, I think, but not the season that's on Yahoo, because who the hell has Yahoo?
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
Which, but never mind. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait for Netflix to buy it or something.
Yeah, like Top Gear's gone to Amazon Prime. Like, I won't be watching that. So, not that I really watch Top Gear anyway, but as in, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. Well, what's been happening? What's been happening in the world of games, Ben?
Well, first up, we can do some promos for the videos on the YouTube site. So you've put a Batman 101 video up. What's that about, Sam?
So the 101 is a series we're going to do where we basically just go through the basics and give an overall look at the game. So this one is Batman Arkham Knight, which I think it's just half an hour or so, and it just gives a good overview on the game and what you can do and all this stuff. And yeah, I mean, should I talk a little bit about the game?
No, we'll cover that in the reviews bit, and then we'll keep it organized.
And also there are videos up, sorts of videos up of Ethan Carter, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which came out on PS4 not too long ago. So played that. That's up there. That's a full. It's in 3 parts. It's a full completion video. So you can watch me wandering around a forest for 3-4 hours.
Is that how long?
Yeah, it's not very long.
Oh, cool. Okay, I quite like the sound of that.
It was, yeah, but you know, if you're watching it, okay, the first hour, the first like half an hour, 45 minutes, where I'm still figuring out kind of what to do. Bear with me, it gets better, and there's the stuff in the mines is pretty cool. So just keep with it, and I complete the whole thing in the end. So yeah,
cool. Right, so this week's feature, what we're going to talk about, Sam?
So we are going to be discussing sidekicks in gaming and how important or not important,
or not important, yeah,
not important at all they may be. So yeah, so I had to think about this. I think one of the most recent ones, and I know you hate this game, but I think a lot of the people think of in terms of an actual active sidekick is Ellie from Last of Us, who actually shoots at people. She makes distractions.
Yeah,
she's good to interact with. She's a natural character. You actually care about her, and she feels like a real proper sidekick.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I think that the plus points. I mean, it's not a completely terrible game from my viewpoint, but the bits that I did like were obviously the writing, and she's got quite a number of jokes that she comes out with, and that probably is responsible for most of the humor in the game, trying to keep things light, and they play on the humor that she's not really she doesn't really know much about kind of culture and all this kind of stuff because she was born during the zombies or whatever, along those lines. So she's not that kind of aware of everything that's gone on, and there's quite a bit of humor to be found in that. It's quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit different if you think from Resident Evil 4, I think it was, where you had the president's daughter, right? She's not a sidekick, but like you had to like pick her up or whatever, or put her in a bin or something like that. Like I hate those fucking escort. I think so. I hate those escort missions. Which you kind of, I can't think of another one off the top of my head, but in terms of having it as a sidekick, someone you've got to look after, it's like those are the worst types of sidekicks you can get. Such as, which brings me on to Aiko, where the princess who you have to drag around by the hand is just, the whole point is that she's just fucking useless. And all right, you're supposed to like look after her, but Jesus, literally, that is the most, like, put it this way: if she gets sucked into this black hole thing, it's game over.
Yeah, I'm still currently playing through Ico, so I'll probably do something on that YouTube the kids have with with Ico. But yeah, I'm finding the point I've got to the moment is, yeah, you're trying to fight those kind of shadow things off the whole time, and they're just could have gone so wrong, that comment. Trying to kind of beat off the shadows, etc.
Yeah, that's better.
That's something. No, that's worse. You're trying to get rid of them, and all the while you're carrying her, and you just keep on putting her down, and because she's so incapable.
You're shit. I hate you.
You're rubbish. Why am I playing this? This isn't realistic. I'd have gone home a long time ago.
Yeah. Do you mean that kind of putting down, or
no? No, just kind of like putting her on the ground while you fight the weird things. That's just, oh god, it's so annoying.
I mean, to be honest, like. When you get further into the game, there's less shadows.
Okay.
So hang in there. It's worth it.
Hang in there. Just hang in there. Yeah.
Hang in there, buddy.
Yeah, that's cool. So time for another good one from the same developer. So Aggro, in the direct sequel to Ico in Shadow of the Colossus, Aggro, your horse, is actually really useful. Probably
my favorite sidekick / horse ever in gaming.
Sidekick / horse.
I was in like, he's definitely my favorite horse in gaming, and I was thinking, what are my other favorite horses? And I was like, Red Dead Redemption, but you kind of just don't really have the same horse. But this horse is, you have a real bonding with, and it's just you two, just like out there doing it, and because he's actually completely useful, like the amount of times you have to ride around on him just to like battle these bosses and stuff, and you call him over and he just looks fucking great, never moans.
Yeah, he's pretty competent. He'll come when he's called, all that kind of stuff, and you also don't have to look after a useless, incapacitated princess, because she's just, although she's in the game, just kind of back at base.
Yeah,
nice.
Yes, that's a good one. I mean, yeah, another a shit one, which one of the classic sidekicks. I think it has to be the most famous, maybe, sidekick in gaming, at least, apart from like Luigi, who's not really a sidekick. I'd say, is he? Well, maybe, or Toad, maybe. No, don't know. But I would say it's Tails, and specifically Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Well, we're kind of skirting with things, because can't you play as Tails in Sonic 2 though?
You can, but you can't do. You have to do everything on the screen as per Sonic. So you are literally playing around Sonic.
Oh, okay.
And so he's kind of useful to a point, but if you're the person picking up the control pad and playing as Tails, it is the most infuriating thing ever, especially if someone's shit that's playing Sonic. But he's just like lame. He's supposed to be like this little kid, and it's like, why is Sonic hanging around him in the first place? Why are they mates? It's a bit. Oh god, I just can't stand it. He's just so wet. Just flying around with his ass in the air, waiting to put his ass in someone's face.
Oh god, yeah, that's. I mean, the Sonic games haven't aged well, have they? I mean, if you picked one up and played it now, it'd be the most infuriating thing you'd probably think 20 years ago, why did I like this game, and how did this game become responsible for getting me into computer games as an interest that's lasted like 2 decades? But yeah, this game itself is awful.
It was definitely style over substance.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
I mean, sorry, go on.
Another.
No, I was going to say, I can't. The idea of me completing. I mean, I completed Sonic 2. I don't think I'd ever be able to do that again. That was so stressful.
Yeah, it's just annoying. And then when you get caught and all the rings go everywhere. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just battling for like one ring.
It's games like that.
Just need one.
Yeah, exactly. Games like that make me think that people that like really, really hard, punishingly difficult games, just there's something wrong in their minds. Like, it wasn't ever fun, and it still isn't. So this kind of like glorification of old, really difficult games that, get real.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun for like, at least with Sonic, you can play it for like 5 minutes and be like, yeah, okay, this is kind of fun. But then, you could never play it again and you wouldn't be bothered.
Yeah, exactly. And there. Right, so another sidekick. Good one this time. I would bring Elizabeth from Bioshock Infinite to the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
choice.
not only a well-written character, but as as a game, she actually kind of is of use on the battlefield or in the actual game. She suggests things. There's good conversations that go on. She's actually useful during battle, so she brings open the tears or suggests things that can go on. And she doesn't seem to get herself in trouble, so you're not having to worry about where she is, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Also, like same with Ellie, she's integral to the plot.
Yeah. No, that's enjoyable experience with that sidekick, so that's cool.
Good old Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, I'd say I'll do a good one this time.
Okay.
And well, it has to be probably one of my favorite games ever, but Uncharted. You've got Sully.
Yeah.
Who is there just all right? He's kind of useful, but not really. Like he doesn't really. It's the classic thing where they're shooting, but are they actually killing anyone or doing any damage to anything?
Yeah, I think he's less of a use as in the actual game. I mean, he doesn't really kind of do anything for you, much like kind of Elizabeth or Aggro or
but
someone would do. But he's humor based and he's a cool character, and it would be an entirely different game if he wasn't there.
Yeah, it's great for he's a great person to have like Drake riff off and being this like father figure kind of thing, and he's just like a cool, great sidekick to have around. I think he really adds a cool element, and it makes and you understand like he's got that history with Drake, and he's like they're friends, best friends, and whatever. And when he's there and around, and he brings that kind of comfort that you're coming into like this, this friendly atmosphere, and you feel part of it, which is quite important and gives that feel of the game. So yeah, he's good in that respect.
Okay, cool. Right, I've got two mega useless sidekicks to bring to the table now. Right,
yeah,
they're amazing. So the first one from two of my, genuinely two of my favorite games of the last few years, the Sherlock Holmes games. I'm going to vote for Watson to be pretty much the most useless sidekick character around. He's spectacularly useless. Like in the books or the films, Watson is actually has a use and brings something to the table, but in the games he not only annoys you, but he figuratively and literally stands in the way. You can never get a clue off of him like as to where to go next. It doesn't ever help. There's maybe a few cutscenes or little games where you kind of play as Watson. And generally, like if you're investigating a crime scene, he can physically block like a corridor or something. He can actually get in your way. I just think he's really useless and gormless. Like, what is the point of this guy? Like, rubbish. The dog is more use than Watson. Toby the dog.
Yeah, at least the dog does something.
Toby the dog, great sidekick.
Yeah, that's a good one. Dogs generally, like I'd say the Fallout dog, right? And then you've got like the Fable dog, I suppose. They're like quite good sidekicks, you could say.
Well, yeah, the dog you're missing out on is the dog from Valiant Hearts. He's pretty good sidekick. Although, yeah, you're kind of straying into the ideas of maybe we play as him sometimes. So, is it a sidekick? I would say yes, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a good point. Not sure what the cutoff point is.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's a cool dog.
Another a shit one that you'll probably know more about than me is you call it the Dinklebot in the
Dinklebot.
Just boring, monotonous thing that, and again, all he does is just float around open doors, moans at you, and tries to tell you to do stuff.
I think he's the one on this list that is probably like the most neutral, like as in he is useful and different points because they build into the story that all these gates need unlocking and all this kind of stuff. So he is actually doing things for you, or at least one definable thing. And the humor well, you use it in inverted commas. The humor that's in the game Destiny is entirely from him, right? So he's kind of he's kind of the only source of personality that comes into the game. Now, a lot of the lines you may have heard thus far into your Destiny experience would probably lead you to believe that he was reading it whilst, hungover or something. And there is definitely some of that. That's like, some of his lines are really, really flat. But I don't know how much it's to do with the writing. The writing is like really cheesy at points, so it kind of casts a bit of a spell. But as a sidekick, he is constantly getting you into trouble, like sort of saying, "Oh, we just need to hang here while these endless waves of enemies come at you." And you're like, "Well, didn't really need a extraterrestrial robot that can, fly to tell me that. I knew that there was going to be like waves of enemies coming, because that's in every mission." Like,
yeah.
What's the point of you?
I mean, there's just no interaction, really.
Yeah, he doesn't really do anything other than. Well, I suppose the idea is that he's kind of interacting between you and the tower and trying to help communicate and everything, and much in the same kind of way as Cortana. But with Cortana, I think you've got in Halo, obviously, I think you've got a lot more personality and an actual character. And I think it's also because the Dinklebot doesn't really actually have a name. It's just a ghost. Okay, fine, great.
Yeah.
Are they all like that?
Yeah.
But Cortana's cool. I mean, Halo 4 went to the point where the actual plot was pretty much about her, because it wasn't about anything else, because no one knew what the hell the Didact was.
Yeah.
It's the Didact. All right, okay. Is it?
I can't even be bothered with Halo.
What's one of those? Fucking hell. Unbelievable. Cool. Right, so Cortana's great. I've got an amazingly great bad sidekick right now.
Hit me.
You ready?
Yeah.
I don't know its name. Okay, it did have a name, but do you remember Child of Light?
Oh God, yes. I know what you're gonna say.
That little light thing that like buzzes around and collects orbs. I want to call it like Enoch or something weird like that.
But again, yeah, it was pretty pointless. But it was just something for someone else to do. Basically, that's what that was. But it got you health when you were battling and stuff. Right?
Did it? Well, sort of.
Kinda.
You can delay. You can delay the.
Delay the bad guys.
Delay the active time battle of the bad guys.
Thinking about that game just gives me.
I think that's probably the most. I mean, it's probably the most overrated game I've ever heard of. Like, the amount of critical acclaim that game got, I don't understand it.
I don't get it.
It's amazing.
Just everything.
Amazingly bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, what a shitty sidekick. Have you got any more?
Yeah, I've got a couple more. So I was like, firstly, is the darkness from the darkness. And now I don't know if it counts as a sidekick in terms of it's like a power that manifests itself inside you. But you have, I don't know if you played it, but you've got like these 4 like demon things that come out of you when you go into like darkness mode. And then you can like pick people up and throw them, or have them go off and do some stealthy kills, or use it as a shield, I think, and all this stuff. So it's kind of like a power, but I see them as like the same way you'd have like a dog, like it's a sidekick thing. And yeah, I don't know if that counts, but it's quite interesting if it's a sidekick or not. Like, would it count as that? I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. We'll go with it.
Go with it. And also, I was thinking of Meryl in Metal Gear Solid. But then it's like, when I think about Metal Gear Solid now, I think maybe the sidekick is like Otacon, and he was pretty lame. He was all right in Metal Gear Solid 4, I suppose, but he was pretty lame in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was the best and the worst of gaming sidekicks.
Yeah, and also, like, we've probably missed out thousands. So if anyone does have any,
comment or let us know on Twitter or whatever.
The twits. Which is at the Wild Boar UK. Yeah, cool.
Cool. Okay, right. So on to the news. Not much because I haven't been concentrating this week, but two items. One is that PS Plus unfortunately leaked a feature that they're going to add to the PlayStation Store, where PS Plus members can vote on the free games for the next month, which is
Pretty good.
cool. Which is pretty cool. Although the screenshot that I saw about it was kind of what I fear about this. So once you kind of turn over the controls, turn over the wheel to the nutters, then you're going to get a very similar kind of roster of games every month. So the lineup of 3 games were there on this kind of mock-up of the screens that they were using for the voting, and there were 2 games that looked quite interesting that I've heard about on PC that had like a relatively small amount of votes, and there was a game I'd never heard about that was Zombies, and that had like 60% of the votes. So I thought, oh,
is it Dying Light?
No, it wasn't Dying Light. It was like an indie game. So that would be disappointing if it turns out that giving people the vote ends up in stupid gaming decisions. Then I suppose we've only got ourselves to blame. But it could be good. It could also be bad. So
yeah, when I think about it, yeah, I mean, when I think about it, I do kind of want it to be what's the word? I mean, filtered, but not. I don't mean that like. Not choreographed. What they do it when they, like an art museum has somebody who plans where everything's going. What's that job called?
No idea, but kind of managed in a way.
Yeah, basically. It's really going to annoy me. Oh God, what's that word? Okay, fuck it, fine. But yeah, so they actually put some thinking behind it rather than, hey, you can get what you want, because then it's like they'll put up, I don't know, like, well, Black Flag's up there at the moment, but they'll have like the new Assassin's Creed, and like loads of people just go, yeah, we'll get that because, maybe loads of people don't have it, or like, I don't know what the audience is here. If it's people, there might be some people who just don't buy games but have PS Plus for the free games and just play those. I don't know. I don't know.
That's the thing. I mean, the reason I like PS Plus is for kind of Vita-based indie games and that kind of thing. So when you get, like Unfinished Swan or Rogue Legacy or something like that off of PS Plus, then it's absolutely amazing because you can take it with your Vita and it's free. Great stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But when it's a game like, I mean, Xbox Games with Gold just had Black Flag on free last month. And that's great. And then suddenly you saw a load of people like on your kind of activity list playing that game. And I'm sure it, kind of brings, now Ubisoft has got full-on microtransactions. You might see bigger games that are kind of, a year or 2 old going into it, and I would be afraid that would kind of skew the voting. So say something big but ultimately terrible like Black Flag turns up in the voting, that's going to kind of automatically trump something like Valiant Hearts or Child of Light, or I didn't like Child of Light, but as in I'm glad I played it and it was an indie game and all that kind of stuff. I'd rather have played that than Assassin's Creed, to be honest. So
yeah,
I'd be worried that kind of voting would skew it because it's just a bigger game and people have heard of it. Curator. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Been Googling it.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, cool. The other news I picked up on this week was that I can't remember his name now. The guy who is in charge of Final Fantasy VII.
Jimmy Bob.
Pardon?
Nothing.
He has basically said that they will be changing the active time combat system from Final Fantasy VII. No doubt this is going to cause uproar, but I don't know how this is a surprise to anyone. Anyone that's seen the 10-second video thing announcing the Final Fantasy VII remake and has seen anything that any kind of Final Fantasy game for the last like 3 or 4 years, it's pretty obvious that a really cartoony, goofy kind of game that features cross-dressing and chicken racing and whatever else, kind of load of slapstick, is not going to fit with their kind of like new age emo vision of the world that they're obviously going to create this new Final Fantasy game in. If you saw Advent Children, it was so far detached from what Final Fantasy VII was, that I don't know how.
Yeah,
Again,
right.
I don't know how it's a surprise, really. That I mean, so then you take that step further, and how are they going to move those kind of mechanics into the modern world? Well, they're going to make it a faster game, more like 13 or 15 kind of thing. I would
Well,
imagine.
it might be a good thing. It's just a bit of a, I don't know. There's part of me that just thinks, well, no one knows what it's going to be like. But yeah, you're right. That's probably what it will be. But I don't know. I like the idea of it having the same combat system, but still looking amazing. But then you're right. It's old hat now.
Cool. Right. So on to the free games for this month. So on PS Plus, we have
Free.
free Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. Are you bothered?
Meh.
Limbo.
Yes, love it. But I've
Good
obviously
game,
got it.
good game. Something called Sound Shapes. Never heard of it.
No,
But that's on PS4, PS3, and Vita.
that means
Stealth
definitely no.
Inc. 2, a game of clones.
I've never
across
played these.
all platforms. God of War Ascension on PS3 and Castle Storm on PS3 and Vita.
They've already done God of War Ascension on PS Plus.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Did it
I
like
mean,
a couple of years ago.
those games don't really blow me away. I mean, I've played Limbo on XBLA back in the day, so I mean, I'll download it, but I'm not really going to be playing it on PS4, to be honest.
No.
Yeah, so okay, bit of a missing month. On Xbox, we have at the start of the month we have Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes
Good if you haven't got it.
for the first half of the month, and then on 360 Metro 2033 for the first half of the month, and then Xbox One for the second half of the month we have How to Survive Storm Warning Edition, which is a kind of island-based survival zombie game. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people that like that apparently. And on 360, Metro Last Light. So they're going heavy with the Metro this month on 360.
Man, I recommend Metro. I mean, I think I've only done Last Light, which was the second one.
But the important thing to remember, kids, is that if you go onto your 360 and initiate the download for those games, you don't necessarily have to go back and play on 360. But as long as you initiate the download and then that title gets incorporated into the backwards compatibility at the end of the year, you will be able to download it again for free, even if the price goes back up under backwards compatibility, and play it on Xbox One. So that is a pretty good feature. So make the most of it.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Cool. So
nice.
So we're on to reviews. What do you want to chat about first?
Well, let's chat about Batman. Arkham Knight.
No. Batman.
So, okay, so this takes place. It's Rocksteady's last one. Takes place after the events of Arkham City. Basically, right at the beginning, Scarecrow's like, "Oh, there's a bomb that's going to go off, and everyone's going to have my sleepy juice." So everyone's like, "Get out of town!" So that's why it's deserted. The whole Gotham's deserted again. It's basically the same as Arkham City, but it's you've got the Batmobile. Basically, is the one big thing. So the Batmobile is it's a weird thing to drive because, and this is going to sound really panicky, but when you go to brake, you hold the left trigger, but that's not actually the brake button. In fact, it turns your car into a tank, which is kind of like braking. But when you're doing like races and stuff like that, it gets a bit infuriating. So the brake is actually, I mean, I forget what it is offhand, but I think it's like the square button or something like that. So that feels a bit weird. And also there's just loads and loads of tank stuff. And there were some levels where you have to like do things kind of perfect a little bit, which just got, a bit infuriating. Excuse me. It wasn't, it wasn't impossible, but I was like, man, I am sick. Like some of the tank stuff just went on for ages as well. Like, and you're just like, they're really pushing the Batmobile on me.
I watched your video, and it does kind of look fun, but also, from a lot of the reviews I've heard and read and all that, it does sound like it becomes a much bigger part of the game as the game goes on. So yeah, it just sounds like it kind of becomes more about the tank, and then obviously you're then also playing a Batman game, which isn't really what people want.
Yeah, it's weird. Just the tank stuff was weird. Like I can understand it a little bit, but there's just so much of it that it just, especially because you've got the side missions and all that. I don't know. So it was. So overall, it was a good game. I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it the same way I enjoyed the previous games. The story was pretty good, but if you have any more than average knowledge of Batman lore, you're not going to be surprised about the identity of the Arkham Knight and all this stuff. Put it that way. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I pretty much, once it started going, I was kind of thinking, oh, maybe it's blah blah blah, and then they have like a little cut scene in the middle where this stuff happens. You're like, yeah, it's definitely that person. And then when they have the big reveal, you're like, I already figured this out ages ago. But thanks, but thanks very much. But
Oh, thanks.
yeah. But yeah, it's good. You know, stuff's good. It's the classic, you know, playing it, and it's one of those things where like I literally got it and completed it pretty quickly. So I must have had fun doing it. And also, it's got the characters like Man Bat, who I love, and I like all like the weird, like there's a serial killer mission, and all this stuff, like those kind of little extra characters that people who don't necessarily know Batman too well would have heard of, but it gives it that bit of texture. And yeah, I generally enjoyed the story. So it's worth playing, but you know, it's not a 10 out of 10 game at all. I can't remember what I gave it. I think I gave it like a 7. But yeah, good, but not amazing.
Cool. Okay.
That's Batman.
That's Batman. So, what is next? Okay, so City Skylines. So this is a game I've been playing on PC. So, backstory to this is that I really liked the look of SimCity when I played it at Eurogamer EGX a few years ago. When that came out, I thought, oh, okay, I'll keep an eye on it because I didn't really like the whole always online DRM type thing. And with these kind of games, especially PC games, just see how it looks, and then dive in later. I was doing other things and all that. But either way, it got absolutely review slammed from all angles, and that wasn't the game to jump in with. And they had problems, and the cities were too small, and it didn't quite work, and there were bugs with it, and you couldn't do user mods, and you couldn't play offline, and all this kind of stuff. Anyway. City Skylines came along, and it's got all of those features. It's it's offline if you want it, and it does have user mods, so you can add things to the game, use like tiny little features that kind of make your make the usability far easier, make it easier to just do kind of the mundane quick little tasks in the concept of city building. So I've enjoyed it, definitely. I'm not sure I'm going to be playing a lot of it now. I wouldn't say I've got to the end of my first city, but I've got it a fair way kind of thing. Got like a half decent population, and
Okay.
It's really good fun, really well done, relatively simple, and enjoying it.
Great. It's supposed to be very good.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, the mods I think make the difference, because the designers haven't necessarily put in like small features like I don't know, how would you say, you can't kind of see the road direction without zooming in really, really quickly. If you're doing like one-way roads as a road system, you can't necessarily just see which way they're facing without zooming in and seeing the arrows on the roads themselves. So you can get a mod that just like puts these big green arrows on when you just press a button, and it shows you which way they're going, and you can change them with the same mod, like just by clicking the direction, right?
Okay.
Real easy. And there's like 10 or 15 mods where you just do things like that. One like that automatically deletes and rezones abandoned buildings, so you never have to do any of that, right? Just makes it quicker, makes it so you can concentrate on the fun part of it, right?
Okay.
Really enjoyed it. It's good.
Cool.
I mean, I think it was like 27, 23 pounds, something like that.
Okay.
And I don't think you need that much for kind of powerful PC to run it. So give it a go.
Nice.
Cool.
Cool. Well, another game I know we both played is let's start with You Must Build a Boat.
You must.
You absolutely must build a boat. And the funny thing is that you start the game with a boat. You just have to build a bigger boat.
A bigger boat.
So
yeah, go on. Describe the game.
So it's there's a game I played before this called 10 Million, which is literally, if you want to type it into the App Store, whatever, it's literally 10000000. But it's pretty much the same concept, which is it's like a dungeon crawler thing, and you match up tiles associated with kind of what's going on rolling on the top of the screen with your guy against different enemies or chests, doors, and stuff like that. And you're basically collating coins and treasures and all this, and monsters and whatever, and it all goes back into your boat, and you literally just get a bigger boat, and you're traveling through and basically going through different levels. So it's very simple, but it's highly addictive, and also it's got that thing. It's a mobile game where you can knock out one in like a minute or 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry. I meant you can play around in 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on how well you do. But yeah, I mean, I really liked it. It's just addictive and simple to use and quite funny, and yeah, just something that kind of is a nice little time killer. What did you think?
Yeah, I was enjoying it to begin with, I think, and I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of mobile games, and I think they tend to fall into the kind of exploitative freemium bullshit, and then other than that, they kind of struggle to find a place. And I think it's well designed in the sense of it completely works. It's supposed to be a dungeon crawler when actually it's a kind of like speed-based puzzle game, isn't it? And then with kind of elements of upgrades and customizing your build and all this kind of stuff. But I have now stopped playing it. I can't take it anymore. I was kind of on the train, on the tube, like doing it, kind of getting a bit animated, and I don't know, I'm just a bit bored of it. Like already, I'm probably about halfway through the river. Did you get all the way to the end?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I think
it's
largely luck based, isn't it? Like which tiles you get, and I found that to be a little bit frustrating sometimes. Like if you haven't got anything, you end up just spamming the screen trying to get combos. Yeah,
I think that becomes the kind of major tactic by the end of it, is that you're just moving things around as quick as you can, rather than a strategy to a point, but really becomes more speed than anything. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just that kind of like that mini kind of reward system, that classic kind of like, oh, if I just get a little bit more, I can get this and this and this, and it's it works in that way, but it is extremely repetitive, and I can understand if people get bored of it quite quickly. But in terms of just mindless zoning out, it's pretty good for that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So if you're in the mood for that kind of game, then get on it.
You must build a boat.
Build a fucking boat.
You must. Similar, and in that is completely different. So
start again.
Well, which one should I go into? Right. So let's talk about her story.
Whose story?
Exactly. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So her story is, and I've heard people sort of say, "Is this a game? What's going on?" I mean, I don't know how someone could say it isn't a game. It doesn't make sense to me that someone could think that. But either way, the idea of the game is that you're presented with a kind of like mock, like 90s computer with windows to move around and stuff like this, and you've been given access to a police database of video interviews of a girl that is, or a woman that is, kind of recounting a terrible story and the motives and reasonings behind various things that went on. And it's your idea to kind of like come up with the search terms, because everything's tagged by certain terms. So you have to think of what words are going to come up next. So they give you the first one for free, like murder or something like that. So you type that in, then everything else
For
is tagged.
free. You don't have to buy any.
No, but it's in
for
like
free.
you don't have to just like think, oh, well, what's the crime kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
well, you pretty much know what's going on. Yeah, no, it's fantastic, and it's you get the chance to add your own tags to search under your own power, and then the kind of game aspect of it is that they only give you 5 videos. So say you do a search for, I don't know, like sister on murder or something, and you get like 20 or 30 hits, then only the first 5 will show up in your window, and the only other way to whittle that down is to add more search terms to get something you haven't seen before, and it gives you a little window to say whether you've seen all 271 videos that are available in the game. Yeah, it's great. So what do you think?
Yeah, it was interesting. So just in terms of it being like an interactive experience and something different, I enjoyed it in that respect. I feel like it was ambitious, but I feel like there were certain things they could have just done better. I mean, for one thing, it's very reliant on one woman, and I don't think she was that good enough an actress.
Okay.
She was all right, but and because it doesn't hold your hand at all, which is fine, but there was an element of like, I'm not sure what is happening where in the timeline of events, and if there was just some, I know you could do this thing where you can put clips to one side, you have your little playlists or whatever, and all this, but if there was a way of just having them almost like literally like a puzzle kind of thing, but like having them kind of feel like a kind of timeline, because by the end of it, did you complete it, by the way?
Yes.
So by the end of it, I really had to because you can go back into it once you've done it if you wish. Yeah. And I really had to go to town to like think, what the fuck am I watching, and what's what, and what's going on, and what sequence of events. Like you kind of get a rough idea as you're going through, and then there's kind of a few twists and stuff, but it's all obviously, the story is just there. It's all dependent on how you're accessing the files in terms of what elements of the story that you're getting. Some are just completely useless. Some are like mind-blowing revelations. Some are a bit of both. Some
of them are 2-second clips or 5-second clips where she's just saying no, or I mean, there's all the ones that come out the back of the lie detector test, which literally just clip down to the answer no.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, that's of no use to me.
Yeah.
That didn't really bother me so much. I mean, I think the only thing that actually kind of like started to get on my nerves was really the limit on videos. And I know that's kind of part of the gamification of the concept, is that they have to kind of force you to add search terms and to search other things. But when I was searching I was trying to complete the database and find all of the clips. By and large, I'd found all of the all of the search terms. It's just really putting them in the right order, or combining certain ones. And some of them are, and that's where it becomes annoying if you want to complete it, because if you want to find all of them, then you've got to find these clips that pretty much don't mean anything in any kind of context, pretty much where she's just sort of saying, oh, I like coffee, or oh no thanks, or just kind of innocuous little clips that don't mean anything. And you've got to somehow search for them. Meanwhile, you're off searching for kind of the links between the major clues in the case, kind of thing. But I mean, that's just a small gripe, I think. I mean for however much it was, like £3, £3.99, something.
Yeah, £3.99.
I thought it was really enjoyable, completely value for money, and I'd happily play another game like that. It was quite unique. I mean, I don't think I sort of take your point on the acting, but I think she was good enough.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like, if there was something else for her to bounce off, probably would have gone better. But the fact that it's literally just her in front of a screen, it's very difficult to kind of pull off successfully. And obviously because she's, well, I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but she's essentially playing different characters, or is she playing different characters? But
well, that's one of the conspiracy theories, isn't it? Spoiler alert! But that she's having them on. But I think in order for that concept to work, the police have got to be really, really stupid. So I don't think that's necessarily the case. But yeah, so out of spoilers, but I think that, yeah, you're right. If they'd have had another character in there, like the interviewer, the detective that was asking them the questions, it might have seemed a bit easier, like a bit more natural.
Yeah.
But they purposely don't include any audio or any question from anybody at all. So you never get the question that precedes the answer.
Yeah. Exactly.
You literally just get the answer. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit annoying, like having the 5 clips, because there was like a couple of times where I had to put it down and walk away for a bit, because I was like, I feel like I don't know what else I can type. Like I don't know what else there is to do, and then I'm just typing like weird stuff, which, you know, some of which came up, or like I would have to retype old search terms to rewatch old videos to think of some words to type in. Do you know what I mean? And when you have to start doing stuff like that, it's a little, I felt it was a little bit like, this is just becoming more of a nuisance than actually, you know, anything else. But yeah, and also just in terms of it was confusing in respect of what was happening when, and I know that's kind of the point, but
yeah,
I don't know. It was a great idea, good concept, and I think there's something there that people could work with.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's good. Go play it.
Yeah,
right. Go play it, kids.
Yes. So
cool. Hey, what is next?
Let's talk about Monument Valley.
Monument Valley. Okay.
What did you? This is all mobile, it seems. But what did you reckon?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think, as I've sort of said before, I think that mobile games have a tough time if they're trying not to be a kind of really simple kind of puzzle game, and that's where a lot of bullshit occurs, where they're trying to make games too complex, like playing FIFA on your phone. Like, it's never going to work. Or playing, like, BioShock came out for iOS. Like, who's going to be playing that? Honestly, you've got to be mental. The reaction speed on a touch screen, like controls for a first-person shooter, would be horrendous. And this, I think, is perfectly suited to a touchscreen. It's just, there's no kind of time pressure. It's just how do you say? It's just, you know, kind of point and click and a bit of a puzzle game, and it's kind of use of like a kind of, who's that famous artist? Is it Escher or something like that?
Yeah, MC Escher.
The kind of mind-bending 3D puzzles in time and space, that I really enjoyed that part of it. I mean, there is a story that kind of goes on in the background, but that's not really material to your enjoyment of it. You're just really trying to get from A to B and work it out. And I think, you know, it's well designed. It's quite pretty game. Yeah, and liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I mean, I like those simple kind of puzzles, which have to make you use your brains, use your brain slightly differently. And yeah, it looks great, like great design, great music. And yeah, I mean, the only thing is I thought it was a bit short, but then I smashed it out quite quickly. But I know you can get extra levels and stuff like that, which is fine. But
that makes it sound like you're not going to do that.
No, I didn't bother. Well, I was like, I feel like I've done it. Like I've done enough of this. It reached a satisfying required amount, but I don't know. I think it was just that okay, how should I explain this? I wanted more but less. I think it was a case of I wanted the levels to be a little bit more difficult and maybe have a bit more to them than what they actually did, rather than having loads more levels of the same difficulty. I just felt like there needed to be more. So when I finished it quite quickly, and I was like, oh, I feel like there should be more. But then when I think about it, if it was more of the same difficulty, I'd probably be like, it's too much. But if they upped it a little bit more, you know, there was no real chin scratches, put it that way. It was like, it took you about 2 or 3 seconds to, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm super clever.
Yeah, you're so super clever, Sam. I mean, there was a couple of points where I was like, I didn't know what to do next. And it's not as if I had to put it down and come back to it, but as in, there's a couple of points where I was kind of like, what? And then eventually work it out. I don't think it's like a Braid type thing where you have to put it down through fear of throwing your controller at the screen or something like that, or a Portal. I think it's definitely not as difficult as that. You're right, but I think I don't think it's. I can imagine there are people out there that can't do it.
Yeah, well, they're idiots.
Well, that's a given.
No, it was good. I did really like it. I played it on my phone as well. Which is 6. You've got a Samsung, right?
No, Sony.
But yes, it worked. It looks really nice. Basically, is what I'm saying with on the screen, and because it's slightly bigger than usual. It was good.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I liked it. Go play it.
Yeah, and I think
it's it's right up there, because my opinion of mobile games is that they're terrible. So have to play a mobile game that's not terrible is like it's a revelation.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, one thing. Do you think you're going to play Fallout Shelter?
Well, is it any good? Should I play it? Give me the pitch.
Pitch is it's like the old, I want to say SimCity, but it's like a management thing where you have side-on view with the rooms, and you're just trying to make sure everyone stays alive and they've got enough power and food and water, and that's basically kind of it. And management sim, I think they call it, is the actual genre. But it started off like quite addictive and a little bit difficult, and it didn't take long before it just got really easy. And like the things obviously grow exponentially, but I've like reached 200. It's got 200 people capacity, and I've reached that fairly quickly, and everyone is 100% happy. And I've got loads of food, water, and things, and I'm like,
so okay,
yeah. So I'm like, so I just stop. I can keep building stuff, I suppose, but is there any point?
Do I stop now?
Yeah. So it was enjoyable and slightly addictive, but yeah, they just got to like, it just became way too easy. I don't know why. I mean, you can buy like, it's free to play, but you buy like lunch boxes, which give you special like points or like special people or items and stuff. But to be honest, you don't need that, because you can train people up relatively quickly to become good at one thing and then send them off to the relevant room. And you've got people who can go get some pretty good items from the wasteland, which is when you just send people out. So yeah, it's good, but like I wish it just captured that first like few hours and maintained it, because basically once everything starts going green and you don't have a problem, it just gets easier and easier and easier. So it might be worth playing, but if I was you, I'd just play it for a little bit and see how you think. But otherwise, don't bother. You're not getting anywhere. It's like a Football Manager sim. There's no end.
Well, like City Skyline, I suppose.
Yeah, it goes on forever.
Yeah, it will literally go on forever. I'm probably not going to bother with that then.
No, but again, this is that's a mobile game. Stop clicking your mouse.
Right, I've stopped it.
Thank you, mouse clicker, motherfucker. Okay, what's next?
Cool. So next up, that's us out of reviews. This is probably the one and only week where we do mobile reviews. So I think it's just really, we're on our way out here. So my pick of the week is to go and download King's Quest Volume 1, A Night to Remember. It's from the guys who originally made all those kind of point and click adventure games, back in the day. It's got very favorable reviews, and I think you can pick up the whole season for £30, I think. So there's going to be five or six episodes, including the epilogue, over the next 6 months. So you can buy the bundle deal now, or you can just play the first one and then get the upgrade. Yeah, go get it. It's on Xbox One and PS4. So yeah, no excuse.
No excuses.
No excuse. Cool.
Okay, well, I guess that's it. If you want, you can send us an email, which is always greatly appreciated. thewildboartv@gmail.com, or follow us on Twitter and send us a tweet at thewildboaruk. we're on Facebook as well, The Wild Boar. Remember, that's all BORE, as in to be bored, boredom, which I'm hoping no one has been too bored today.
No.
You've all got mobile phones, so this is relevant for everyone, right? And tell us about sidekicks. So, like I am Ben's sidekick. What other sidekicks out there? Am I? What other sidekicks in gaming and stuff that are great? Shit, we've probably missed out on loads. But do send us stuff, because we will put it up, talk about it, and all this on the next episode, which will hopefully be next week. I was away in Canada, so I apologize it took so long. Yeah, that's it, right?
That's pretty much it.
That's the one. Also, look out on our Twitch thing for like Let's Plays and all this stuff. We'll be trying to do some more of that, and head over to our YouTube page. Just look at everything. Just get it all.
Watch it all.
Just watch everything. My Batman thing has got 3 views. 3. All right, it's only been up a little while, but still needs more than 3. Just watch it. You don't even have to like it. Just if 5 people watch it, I might think, well, that was worth doing for half an hour. Maybe. Or if not, fuck it. Who cares? Okay, well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the big episode 20.
I can't believe it.
Wow. See ya.
See ya.